Right now we interact with computers in a very unnatural sort of 2D way, and we're trying to create these 3D objects.
As Russian President Vladimir Putin's campaign in Ukraine becomes more intense, billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk offers an unconventional yet traditional response. Elon said in a strange tweet on March 14th, "I hereby challenge Vladimir Putin to single combat." The billionaire CEO of Tesla and SpaceX said in a strange tweet on March 14th, using the Russian alphabet to write Putin's name. So in today's video, we'll look at when and where it'll be happening, where and how you can watch the pay-per-view, their weight class, and more. I'm just kidding, but in today's video, we'll discuss the matter to know about this bizarre circumstance. If you haven't been paying attention to Twitter over the last few days, you may have missed a meet me by the parking lot after school moment.
Со стороны правительства, вообще власти в самом широком смысле этого слова, конечно, задачу вижу в том,
between a billionaire and Russia's president, full of people creating a virtual circle outside the battle and hurling obscenities in. Elon Musk's engagements with Ukrainian and Russian authorities have become indicative of how intertwined technology and social media have made us with the crisis. It also demonstrates the involvement of third-party instigators in this conflict. To get through this storyline, we need to give you a little backstory. Just 6 months ago, Rogozin was a self-professed admirer of Musk and SpaceX. The Russian space director welcomed Musk to his house in September, saying he'd already placed the tea kettle on heat, and that he'd already set the tea kettle on heat. Rogozin stated at the time that he had seen Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson launch rockets into space and wished that Russian billionaires would do the same. Musk, Bezos, and Branson were invited to the launch of Roscosmos Soyuz spacecraft in Kazakhstan. Rogozin has already questioned whether Roscosmos is more resilient than SpaceX. He posted photographs of Roscosmos personnel retrieving a chunk of a Soyuz rocket in snowy conditions on Twitter in 2020. "This is not Boca Chica," Rogozin said, referring to the location where SpaceX tests rockets. "In the winter, Yakutia looks like this. I'm curious if mild SpaceX can operate under such situations." SpaceX has been working for a long time to meet the International Space Station's demand for Russian propulsion technology, while also lowering its transportation expenses. NASA's reliance on Russian Soyuz rockets ended in 2020, and the Roscosmos lost billions of dollars when SpaceX flew NASA astronauts from American soil for the first time in over a decade. But you might wonder, when did all the adulation go away? More on that later in the video. Musk sent Starlink broadband internet service to Ukraine. The dialogue between the billionaire and the Ukrainian authorities was triggered by a tweet, not a formal letter, a visit with an ambassador, or even an email. While you tried to colonize Mars, Russia is trying to occupy Ukraine. Prime Minister Mikhailo Fedorov tweeted at Musk in late January, just after Russia began its full-fledged invasion of Ukraine. While your rockets successfully land from space, Russian rockets attack Ukrainian civil people. Elon heard their cry and responded to the appeal for assistance by sending Starlink broadband internet service to Ukraine, along with the required equipment to get up and running. While much of the country's connectivity had been knocked out by battle, Musk's assistance allowed individuals on the ground to continue to write about what they were experiencing and stay in touch with the outside world. As you can expect, this did not sit well with some of Russia's higher-ups. Following President Joe Biden's sanctions over the situation in Ukraine, Rogozin declared earlier this month that Russia would no longer sell rocket engines to the US, and that the US might go to space with broomsticks. The space director threatened to cut off Russia's assistance to the International Space Station and send it plummeting to Earth. The remarks mirror the NASA chief's 2014 suggestion that the US might launch people to the International Space Station using a trampoline. From offering Starlink to civilians in Ukraine to stating that SpaceX was America's broomstick or trampoline,
Mars's atmosphere has been primarily CO2 for billions of years.
Musk has pushed into promoting SpaceX as an alternative answer in each case. But that's only the beginning of our story. There was a rumor in February that Russia would punish people for using SpaceX's Starlink internet service. The new regulation, proposed by Russia's legislative body, the State Duma, aims to ban residents from using one of Musk's hundreds of satellites to access the internet. After launching a record-breaking 143 satellites into orbit on Sunday, SpaceX is getting closer to its goal of surrounding the Earth with up to 42,000 Starlink satellites to deliver ultra-fast internet. According to Popular Mechanics, ordinary customers might be taxed between 10,000 and 30,000 rubles, $135 to $405, while legal companies could be charged up to 1 million rubles, $6,750 to $13,500, if they access the Western satellite service. Musk responded to the local news with a tweet, "We're just trying to get people to Mars. Help would be greatly appreciated." With the aid of its Falcon 9 reusable rockets, the space company has sent 944 operational satellites into orbit. This conquest of the sky poses a security concern for Russia. Russia may find it difficult to punish the internet provider, but it's simpler to fine, or at least threaten to fine, your own population, according to John Byrne, a service director specializing in telecom technologies at Global Data. On March 14th, Musk tweeted, "I hereby challenge Vladimir Putin to single combat." Musk used Cyrillic letters to write Putin's name and the term Ukraine. While Putin's name was engraved in Russian, the word Ukraine was written in Ukrainian. a gesture of sympathy from the world's wealthiest man for the misery of Ukrainian civilians following Russia's unprovoked invasion of the nation 2 weeks ago. That message was retweeted tens of thousands of times and was trending on Twitter for most of the early work week. "Did you think this through?" a commenter asked, to which Musk responded, "I am very serious. I agree to use just my left hand, even if I am not left-handed." Putin has yet to reply to the tweet, but Russian government officials have been glad to do so in his place. Returning to Rogozin, he said on Twitter, "You little devil, you are still young to a 50-year-old Musk. Compete with me, weakling. It would only be a waste of time." Rogozin quotes a fairy tale from the 17th century by Alexander Pushkin, a Russian poet known for hiding political implications in his writings, and was banished from the nation owing to the subjects of his writing. While it's unclear what Rogozin meant by the comment, this isn't the first time the Russian space head has had a Twitter spat with Musk. Since Russia invaded Ukraine, the two have swapped insults, highlighting a long-standing rivalry between Roscosmos and SpaceX. Musk made a series of jokes in response to Rogozin's post. He advised Rogozin to form a book club, citing Fyodor Dostoevsky's masterpiece The Idiot. According to the translation of Musk's tweet, "A fool with a heart and a mind is just as unfortunate a fool like a fool with a mind without a heart." Musk also portrayed Putin and himself as pay-per-view fighters. "I see you are a tough negotiator," he continued. "Okay, you can have 10% more pay-per-view money," he continued. On one side, there's a picture of him with a flamethrower, and on the other, there's a picture of Putin riding a bear. Musk has been extraordinarily forthright and outspoken in his support for Ukraine and condemnation of Putin, and his support hasn't been confined to challenging Putin to a Twitter fight. Elon Musk has shown no reluctance to deploy the massive resources at his disposal to aid the resilient Ukrainian resistance movement and trap citizens. Ramzan Kadyrov, the leader of the Russian region of Chechnya and a Putin ally, addressed Musk by the feminine Russian first name Ilona, which sounds similar to Elon, and told him he lacked the physical strength to fight Putin, a judo enthusiast and the terror of the West, because he lacked physical strength. "Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin would appear unsportsmanlike if he beats a weaker opponent like yourself," Kadyrov said, advising Musk to transform from tender Ilona to a manly Elon. In response, Musk responded, informing Kadyrov in a tweet signed Ilona that after training he would have too much of an advantage. "If he is afraid to fight, I will agree to only use my left hand, and I am not left-handed," he wrote. Musk then changed his Twitter display name to Ilona Musk. On March 16th, when asked about the internet squabbles, Putin's spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, said, "We don't follow it, we haven't read Twitter in quite some time." Although Musk's threats to battle Putin are likely to be nothing more than a publicity stunt, his response to Ukraine's appeal for assistance is significant, and it has demonstrated the importance of social media in a conflict. The ability of Ukrainians to access the internet is critical in combating Russian government misinformation and propaganda. So, what are your thoughts on Elon Musk's squabbles with Russian officials? Do you think it's a little reckless, given that he has such a large platform and wields so much influence in society as a result of his several successful ventures? Or do you see a lighthearted joke? Let us know what you think in the comment section below.